There are many ways to fight a war, but not all of them involve guns or missiles. Sometimes all it takes is a few good hackers. Meet Russia's most wanted hackers, better known as the Fifth Column. Our story begins in 2015 when 5 elite Russian hackers broke into the Bundestag, the German parliament. At least 3 of these hackers were spotted leaving the building, and while they didn't trigger any alarms, German authorities knew something was up. You see, these 5 men weren't ordinary citizens. They were part of special units within Russian intelligence, trained to infiltrate highly secure networks and wreak havoc from the inside, and each had their own objective. The first, codenamed Bear, was there to steal sensitive information and hand it over to the Russian government. The second, codenamed Scaramouche, was tasked with exposing secret information to the public. The third was called Agent TLs. His job was to cause chaos by manipulating data and destroying evidence. The fourth, codenamed Solo, was a technical expert whose main job was to help the others breach security. And the fifth was codenamed Quiet. He was an information broker who could get the team access to almost any system he wanted. But how exactly do you get into one of the most secure buildings in Germany? Well, as it turned out, all it took was some social engineering. The team posed as contractors and convinced the building's management that they needed access for maintenance. It was only when they got inside that the team split up and began their attacks. Bear made his way to the president's office and stole sensitive documents, while Scaramouche hacked into the Bundestag's network and copied around 16 gigabytes of information before deleting it from the system to avoid detection. While Agent TLS manipulated parliamentary voting records, Solo set up hidden cameras to spy on Bundestag officials, and Quiet destroyed evidence of the attack on Bundestag servers. The goal was to gather enough intelligence to blackmail key German politicians and influence policy in Russia's favor. But what happens next will shock you. For now, let's just say that this was just the beginning of their cyber warfare campaign. As it turns out, these 5 hackers have been active since at least 2014, breaking into the DNC headquarters and influencing the 2016 US presidential campaign. They also tried to break into Hillary Clinton's private email server, but failed because of strong encryption. Instead, they ended up leaking thousands of emails from John Podesta, chairman of Clinton's campaign. It seems that none of these hackers can be trusted. After all, in 2018, 2 more members of the group were identified and given the codenames Viper and Shell. Like Quiet, they were information brokers who helped expose government secrets and leaked sensitive files to the public. This shocking turn of events raised questions about the group's loyalty and their true motives. So what drives these hackers to expose state secrets? And where did it all go wrong for them? It all started with a critical mistake made by Scaramouche. You see, after stealing confidential documents from the Bundestag, he wanted to delete the evidence of his crime. But he ended up making a critical mistake that exposed his identity. When investigators analyzed the code used to delete the files, they discovered that Scaramouche had made a small error. The IP address he used to access the Bundestag's network was linked to a Russian military intelligence unit. This groundbreaking discovery allowed investigators to link the attack to the Kremlin. And if this wasn't bad enough, investigators discovered that Scaramouche had accidentally uploaded the stolen data to a Russian military server. All of a sudden, the German government had enough evidence to accuse Russia of espionage. But still, they remained silent. You see, there was no proof that the attack had anything to do with the Russian government, so the chancellor refused to comment publicly on the attack. This puzzling decision left many wondering why Germany chose not to respond to such a brazen attack. In the end, we learned that German officials decided to keep quiet to avoid escalating tensions with Russia. But this wasn't the first time these hackers had struck. In fact, their influence was much greater than anyone had imagined. As it turns out, these hackers were responsible for exposing many top-secret files, not just in Germany. One of the most shocking cases involved the hacking of the French Electoral Commission. While the extent of the damage remains unknown, it's clear that these hackers have infiltrated some of the most sensitive political systems in the world. But what drives these hackers to expose state secrets? The answer lies in their twisted ideology. Unlike traditional hackers who are motivated by financial gain or personal satisfaction, these hackers believe that exposing state secrets is a form of patriotism. They see themselves as anti-establishment rebels who are exposing corruption and bringing the truth to the people. But there's more to their story than meets the eye. The truth is, these hackers are nothing more than pawns in a larger game of geopolitical chess. They're being used by the Russian government to destabilize Western democracies and sow discord among their allies. By exposing sensitive information and manipulating political systems, they're creating chaos and distrust that benefits Russia's national security interests. But the question remains, how did they get away with it for so long? The answer lies in their unique approach to hacking. These hackers don't rely on brute force or technical expertise. Instead, they use a combination of social engineering, espionage, and psychological manipulation to infiltrate their targets. They pose as contractors, manipulate voting records, and even set up hidden cameras. But they make sure to leave no trace of their presence behind. That is until Scaramouche made his fatal mistake. The German government's decision to remain silent in the face of such a brazen attack raised eyebrows around the world. Why didn't they respond to the Kremlin or expose the hackers publicly? The answer is simple. They didn't want to escalate tensions with Russia, but this puzzling decision left many wondering what would happen next. As it turns out, the silence was deafening and gave the Kremlin a green light to continue its cyber warfare campaign. The investigation into Scaramouche's activities led to the arrest of 2 men, both suspected of being Russian spies. The case against them was strong, but it would take months of investigation to gather enough evidence to prosecute them. Meanwhile, the Bundestag was reeling from the impact of the attack. Despite the efforts of the IT team to contain the damage, sensitive information had been leaked and the trust in the system was shaken. The Chancellor's office was particularly affected, with several key staffers having their personal data exposed. But the damage went beyond the Bundestag walls. The attack on Scaramouche revealed a much larger threat, a threat that had been lurking in the shadows for years. As investigators dug deeper into Scaramouche's activities, they uncovered a shocking truth. He was just the tip of the iceberg. There were at least 4 other hackers working under his alias, each with their own unique skills and objectives. The revelation sent shockwaves through the German government. They had been dealing with a sophisticated cyber warfare campaign all along, and they had uneven realized it. The stakes were higher than they could have ever imagined, and the battle for control of the digital world was just beginning. But the investigation didn't stop there. As it turns out, Scaramouche was just one piece of a larger puzzle. The 5th column was a well-oiled machine, with each member playing a vital role in their operations. There was Bear, the master infiltrator, tasked with gathering intelligence and exposing sensitive information. Then there was Viper and Shell, the mysterious information brokers who dealt with sensitive leaks. But who was behind it all? Who was pulling the strings from the shadows? The answer? It was the Kremlin. As the evidence mounted against the hackers, it became clear that they were nothing more than pawns in a larger game of international politics. They were being used by the Russian government to destabilize Western democracies and sow discord among their allies. The goal was to create chaos and distrust, all while remaining hidden in the shadows. But the plan was falling apart. As the German government closed in on the hackers, the Kremlin's efforts to cover up their involvement became increasingly desperate. But the truth had a way of coming out, and soon the whole world would know the extent of Russia's cyber warfare campaign. In the end, the story of the 5th column is a cautionary tale of the dangers of cyber warfare. It shows how even the most sophisticated democracies can be infiltrated and manipulated by a skilled enemy. But it also shows the resilience of the human spirit and the determination to uncover the truth no matter how difficult it may be. As the dust settles on this shocking tale, one thing is clear: the battle for control of the digital world is far from over. What's your opinion? How should the Western world deal with Russia's cyber attacks? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.